In 2011, a journalist asked Elon Musk what he thought of BYD. Musk laughed.
Why do you laugh? BYD is trying to compete. Why do you laugh?
Have you seen their car?
I have seen their cars, yes. In fact, at the Berkshire Hathaway meeting, I saw their cars.
Yeah.
Well, they are on a different, tell me why you're laughing. You don't see them at all as a competitor?
No.
Why is that? I mean, they offer a lower price point.
I don't think they have a great product.
13 years later, BYD outsold Tesla and left Musk's company worth less than half what it was at its peak, scrambling for relevance in markets BYD had already claimed.
Tesla has been dethroned as the top electric car maker in the world. The rival, a company whose cars aren't even available in Canada or the US right now, China's BYD is now the biggest global seller of electric cars.
In Germany, we're doing very well, and Spain were super good, and Italy were doing good. In France, we're doing good. So almost every single a top auto market, BYD performance is outstanding.
You know who's not doing so well in the French market or the German market is Tesla, and they've seen double-digit declines in sales.
This is not a story about revenge. It's a story about a bet, the biggest bet in automotive history, and whether the man who made it will live to collect. This is the story of how BYD bet $25 billion trying to own the world. Wang Chuanfu was born in 1966 into a farming family so poor the children went hungry during bad harvests. By his teens, both parents were dead. His elder brother and sister raised him. Poverty wasn't a backstory for Wang. It was a teacher. It taught him that waiting for someone to hand you an advantage was a strategy for failure. He studied metallurgical chemistry, graduated, got a job managing a battery company in Shenzhen, and at 29 years old, with 250,000 yuan, approximately $36,000, borrowed from his cousin, he started BYD, Build Your Dreams, in a 2,000 square meter factory on the edge of the city. He wasn't building cars. Not yet. He was building batteries. For 8 years, BYD made rechargeable batteries for Nokia, Motorola, and Sony. Unglamorous work, essential work. And in doing it, Wang quietly mastered something most automakers would spend billions trying to outsource: the ability to control his own power supply. Then in 2003, he announced BYD was entering the car industry. The stock dropped 50% in a day. Nobody believed him. Not investors. Not rivals. Not the Western automotive establishment, which had spent a century building walls around an industry they considered impenetrable. Wang didn't argue. He just kept building. In 2008, Charlie Munger called Wang Chuanfu a genius. He persuaded Warren Buffett, a man who famously avoided industries he didn't understand, to invest $230 million into BYD. For Buffett, it was almost theological. He didn't understand batteries. He understood people. And Wang was the kind of person you bet on. But Munger and Buffett weren't buying a car company. They were buying a philosophy. Wang's philosophy was vertical integration. The idea that if you control every component, every material, every step of the supply chain, nobody can undercut you. Nobody can outpace you. Nobody can starve you of parts when a pandemic shuts down the world. It sounded obsessive. It was obsessive. It also worked. By 2024, BYD sold 4.27 million vehicles. Revenue hit $107 billion. More than Tesla, more than Ford, more than anyone in the electric vehicle space had ever generated in a single year. Net profit was up 34%. Cash reserves hit a record $21 billion. Wang Chuanfu, the orphan from Anhui who borrowed money from his cousin, was now running the most valuable car company China had ever produced. And that's exactly when he made the bet. Not a safe bet. Not a calculated, conservative, preserve what we've built bet. A bet that would cost 180 billion yuan in R&D alone over 14 years. A bet that would deliberately shrink his own profit margins. A bet that required him to pick fights with the European Union, navigate a 100% American tariff wall, and take on entrenched automakers on their home soil simultaneously. The question isn't whether Wang Chuanfu had the audacity to make it. The real question is whether the world will let him win. Here's the paradox nobody talks about. BYD is selling more cars than ever, building factories on 4 continents, shipping vehicles to 112 countries. and somehow, simultaneously, watching its profits fall off a cliff. In 2025, net profit dropped 19%, the first annual decline since 2021. Not because BYD is failing, but because BYD is choosing to bleed. Understanding why requires getting a clear picture of one decision Wang Chuanfu made that changed the entire global EV industry. He started a price war, and then refused to stop. In early 2025, BYD slashed prices across 22 models by up to 34%. Not discounts, not promotions. Permanent price restructuring designed to make competitors either match them and lose money doing it, or lose customers to BYD entirely. It worked. Chinese EV prices dropped roughly 19% across the industry over 2 years. BYD's domestic market share held firm. Rivals buckled, smaller brands collapsed, but margins collapsed with them. Gross margins across Chinese EV makers fell to between 10 and 15%. Tesla, for comparison, held 18%. Analysts watching BYD's Q2 2025 numbers saw net profit fall 29.9% in a single quarter, the steepest quarterly drop in 3 years. Even as revenue grew 14%. More sales, less money. By design. Wang had done this before. In 2012, after an earlier expansion pushed too hard and too fast, he stood in front of reporters and said something remarkable for a Chinese CEO of his stature. Quote, "We made mistakes in 3 areas: dealership networks, media relations, and quality issues." Public admission of failure is rare in any boardroom. In China's corporate culture, it's almost unheard of. Wang said it anyway, because the next move required credibility, and credibility required honesty. He was now, in 2025, making a structurally identical gamble at 20 times the scale. Sacrifice margin now, capture market share globally, rebuild profitability once the factories are running and the brand is planted. The thesis was sound. The execution would be brutal. Zoom out from China and the picture shifts dramatically. Brazil loved BYD. In the first half of 2025 alone, nearly 78,000 BYD vehicles landed there, more than any other export destination. A local factory had already rolled its first car off the line. Belgium followed close behind, with over 67,000 units, serving as BYD's gateway into broader European distribution. Southeast Asia was becoming BYD territory too. Thailand received its 90,000th BYD vehicle in 2025, and new plants were under construction in Indonesia and Cambodia. These weren't random markets. Every location was chosen to serve a specific strategic purpose. Get inside the tariff wall before the wall gets higher, because the walls were already rising. The European Union had seen enough. In 2024, it imposed anti-dumping tariffs of up to 45.3% on Chinese-made electric vehicles, arguing that state subsidies gave Chinese brands an unfair structural advantage. BYD's tariff rate landed at 17.4%. Lower than some rivals, but significant enough to force a strategic rethink. Wang's answer was characteristically blunt. If they won't let us sell cars built in China, we'll build the cars in Europe. The Hungary factory broke ground. European headquarters established. Plans drawn up for a budget EV, a version of the Seagull, BYD's sub-$10,000 Chinese city car, to be priced competitively against Volkswagen, Citroën, and Dacia on their own turf. And in April 2025, something extraordinary happened. BYD overtook Tesla in European battery electric vehicle sales. Sales up 359% year-over-year. Tesla fell 49% in the same period. In Europe, the continent that invented the automobile, a Chinese company from Shenzhen had just taken the top spot. Then there is the market BYD cannot touch. The United States, the world's second-largest auto market, is effectively closed. A 100% tariff on Chinese vehicles. A ban on Chinese automotive software over data security concerns. No BYD dealership. No BYD charging network. No path in for now. Wang has said nothing publicly about America. He doesn't need to. The Hungary playbook, build local, sidestep tariffs, entrench the brand, is the only viable strategy, and it takes years, not quarters, which is precisely the problem. By September 2025, domestic sales declined year-on-year for the first time in 18 months. BYD quietly cut its annual sales target from 5.5 million vehicles down to 4.6 million. Founder Wang Chuanfu, in a rare candid moment, placed blame not on the price war or the tariffs, but on competitors catching up, eroding what he'd always believed was BYD's insurmountable technological edge. That admission carried weight. Because if the edge is shrinking at home and the walls are still standing abroad, then BYD is caught in the most dangerous position a dominant company can occupy. Too big to pivot quickly. Too exposed to stay still. Wang Chuanfu borrowed 250,000 yuan from his cousin to start a battery company in a city that barely knew his name. He turned it into a $100 billion revenue machine that out-earned Tesla, outbuilt every rival, and rewrote what the world thought a Chinese company was capable of. He has been laughed at before. He has admitted failure before. He has rebuilt before. The 180 billion yuan is already spent. The factories are already rising. The cars are already sailing across oceans on ships he also happens to own. The bet is placed, the table is set, and the world, for the first time in a century of automotive history, doesn't know who wins.